to episode 91 of Antenna Heads, where we cover the best of TV from today and yesteryear. I'm Brian Cassis, joined by Alex Toothpick Arujo.
That's my nickname, I guess. Hi, Brian. Good to be here. And
Cristina Arujo.
Oh, I don't have a nickname, but you know what? I'm happy about that.
Cristina Pickless Arujo, because you got no pick.
It was,
sounds like you added an extra S to pickles.
Is it two?
You've unraveled my plan.
There's two reasons for that. It's that one, we're waiting for the Batman the Animated Series
retro rerun. Couple weeks.
No Matchstick Malone episodes, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I called Chris Pickless. Yep. Absolutely, that was in the back of my head.
And then you were flicking.
You want me to put on a really bad accent? Oh, how are we doing today, guys?
Well, boys.
Pretty much it. You should be Kevin Conroy,
right?
Yeah, no, never again. How you guys doing? It's been a couple hours since we talked.
Awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, watched 2 episodes of The Flash. I'm getting psyched for the season finale.
It's building to quite the climax, yes. It's a Sunday. We're recording this on a Sunday, so what have you been up to today, Brian? I know what Chris has been up to because I see her every once in a while.
Nothing?
Nothing? You know, it's Sunday, you have some family time.
That's
did the whole thing.
And I'm dreading Monday, but that doesn't start, dreading Mondays doesn't start till another, 3 hours or so. 7:30, 8 o'clock is when that Monday mode starts to really...
Not for me. It's like 3 a.m. on Monday morning. I'm like, gotta go to sleep so I can wake up at noon. Chris.
Yeah.
How was your week? How was your week this week?
Awful.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is it so bad?
It's just work sucks.
Yeah?
Hate
that fucking work man.
Everyone's work sucks, really.
Taking what they're given because you're working for a living. Man. Huey Lewis knows what he's talking about, doesn't he?
Everybody's working for the weekend.
Brian, your working-related song?
Mine?
Come on, 9 to 5.
Just pick a song that has a work in it.
Okay.
He's working 9 to 5. We're done.
Oh, working man. There you go.
There you go. So yes, sad week for Chris. Miserable day for Brian. It's been a weird week for me, though.
It's miserable.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
You're miserable. You're miserable.
I'm miserable.
You're a sad SOB. Sad sob.
Leroy Brown.
The saddest
we're
man.
Not just naming songs.
The saddest man in the whole damn town. It's been a weird week for me. A couple of days ago, B.B. King actually died. And you think that doesn't relate to me, but I think it does in quite an interesting way, because recently I've actually been listening to a lot of Eric Clapton, and in certain songs, he and B.B. King worked a lot together. Riding with the King was one of them. It's actually a really good song. But I've been listening to these songs, and I've been listening to a lot of B.B. King because of it. So, a couple of days before he died, I looked him up to see what he'd done recently, and if he was alive. And then
This
he
is
was.
your fault.
Yeah. Long story short, I'm pretty sure I led to the death of B.B. King, because I have this intrinsic power I don't think we've talked about on the podcast,
I think we have.
If I think about a celebrity that hasn't been in the news for a while and look them up online, chances are in the next couple of days they'll die. I did it with Michael Clark Duncan.
You jerk.
I took him from the rest of you. And also I did it with, what is her name? Loretta Holloway, who was on that Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch song, Good Vibration. No, sorry. Yeah, it's Good Vibration.
Yep.
I confused it with the Beach Boy song. But yes, I killed both of them. Pretty sure I also killed B.B. King. So I've been a bit of a funk the last couple of days. Today, I even ruined a perfectly good tray of brownies. Because I flipped it. The tray had been in there for like 25 minutes, so
Why did you flip it?
It's getting to the point. I didn't do it purposefully. It's getting to the point where I have to start checking on it. I pull it out to check on it, but I burnt my hand, and I was only holding it with one hand, so I jutted it a little bit. And then, of course, it wasn't fully cooked, so half of it just, slid.
What is wrong with you?
I don't like being burned.
Why would you use an oven mitt?
I'm not bare-handing it.
Did you use an oven mitt, or did you use, one of the ones that folds over?
One of the non-mitts.
Yeah, you should have used the frickin' mitt. That's your own fault.
I feel comfortable in the baking world where I think I can go with a
you are a little
pull.
too,
laissez-faire
laissez-faire with it.
Yeah.
Where you, when I feel the heat of the oven, I kind of freak out a little. So I'm like super, super cautious. Because I'm like a cat in that way, except cats like heat, I guess. Once I feel that heat on my face, I'm like, no, this is wrong. I don't like this.
You're like a reverse cat.
I'm a reverse cat.
Heat is bad. Wow. Yes.
The reverse cat.
But
better than the reverse Flash.
That's right. You're the Tom Cavanagh of cats.
That's so mean. I don't like you.
You're prone to weird, eccentric, just bursts of words.
But also, you burn yourself a lot. And I think you need to be
about
more...
once every 6 months. I'll burn myself.
That's too much.
It's not like I'm a certain teen star who purposely hurts themselves. I
thought
do
you
it
were
by
going to say
accident.
Suki St. James.
Or that.
Because she's always cutting herself or burning herself.
By
cooking.
accident, of course. She's not like in deep depression.
No, yeah. She's just so comfortable in the kitchen that she just like grabs things and doesn't think about it.
Right. After that, I try to cheer myself up by taking a BuzzFeed quiz, as
Wow.
you do.
You know.
As you do. And basically it was which of Ash's
How
Pokemon...
many superheroes, how many
What?
celebrities have you killed?
That's right. The answer was 3. No, it was like, which of Ash's Pokemon are you? And you'll be happy to know I'm a Squirtle. I am a Squirtle.
Hashtag dead.
And the weird thing is, it's like, what's your move? And it's like, I picked Flamethrower. So I don't know why I got Squirtle, but I am a Squirtle.
Working for a living, working for a living, working for a living and working. I'm taking what they're giving 'cause I'm working for a living.
This week, we're going to be talking about The Flash, as Brian said, the latest 2 episodes, covering those in the flashback. But before that, we're going to look at a new premiere on Fox. New miniseries, actually, or as they're calling them now, event series, actually from the directorial mind of Mr. M. Night Shyamalan. It's called Wayward Pines, and Brian is going to tell us all about it. Brian, take it away.
So it's based on a book, and they, I think it was M. Night Shyamalan who wanted to turn this into a show anyway. It wasn't originally slated for Netflix.
Last year, wasn't it?
No, it's been on Fox. It's
Fox?
been, yeah, we talked about it in the upfronts.
Yeah, but the upfronts for I think 2
Wasn't it
years ago.
supposed to have
No,
come
it was
out
last
last year?
It was,
And they got pushed back?
I think it might have been meant for a summer series. I'm not sure. I really don't remember. But
I
we
think you're
covered
right.
this like almost a year ago.
I think you're right. It might have been set for a summer series, but then they actually plugged it in here. So Wayward Pines essentially is you have Special Agent Ethan Burke, who is with the Secret Service. He is tasked with finding 2 federal agents that have gone missing in some town in Ohio called Idaho, called Wayward Pines.
Yep.
And while he's there, he gets into a car accident and quickly starts to uncover and realize that he's never leaving this place.
Yep.
At the end of the episode, you find out he's never leaving this place.
That's right.
And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in there, but that's essentially the plot.
Yes. Man gets trapped in a town that he never meant to enter into, and he's really trying to get out of there. It reminded me a lot of The Prisoner in that way, or
Prisoner,
even something like Gilligan's Island.
The Prisoner, The Village.
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty average show. I think a lot of the acting is not the best, but really not the worst. Matt Dillon, who plays Secret Service agent Ethan
Burke.
What a great name. I thought his acting was pretty good for the most part. I didn't think he was the most likable character.
For me, Christian Slater and Matt Dillon seem to be on the same.
I don't like either one of them.
I don't like either of them.
Every
but
time I see
if I had
their
to-
faces,
if I had to
it's
pick
like-
one that was tolerable, Matt Dillon.
Oh, God, if Christian Slater was here, I'd be like, off. I have enough to talk about Christian Slater without watching the show.
But they have a good cast besides Matt Dillon.
You have Juliette Lewis.
Julia Lewis.
Frickin' Lucius Lyon.
Yeah, Sheriff Lyons over here.
Melissa Leo is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Carla Gugino, and then is what's her name that played that? I think she was in Knight's Tale. Is she in this also?
Shannon Sossaman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's
is.
his
She's his
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
It's a good cast, but like I said, no real blow-away performance. Matt Dillon is believable in that his performance of being confused, then being angry and, somewhat horrified at all that's happening around him, I thought was very convincing. I didn't, however, really sympathize for him that much. I don't know why exactly. Part of it just seemed like I would have expected the story to be more of him trying to get back to his family rather than him just trying to escape, which is really what it is. Especially since they showed the family so often, you would think there'd be more of that family ties. But really, it's just, I want to leave here, and also, here's my family.
Well, look who's up and at 'em.
Where's the doctor? It's been hours.
Dr. Carroll was tied up all day in one of those emergency surgeries, some 8-hour nightmare. But I gave him your vitals, and he says you're doing A-okay.
What kind of hospital is this, anyway? Where is everybody?
They're busy.
All right, what about my things?
Working on it, Captain.
And I had a briefcase.
Working on it, Captain.
Why don't you work on getting me a phone? Any phone.
I wish I could, but we don't have phone jacks in the patient rooms. I mean, who wants all that ringing and chattering while patients are trying to heal and sleep, right?
Right.
I'll be back in an hour with your dinner. Green beans and gravy. What on earth are you doing?
I'm leaving.
Mr. Burke, I can't let you leave. You're in no condition to be leaving.
Well, I appreciate your concern.
Mr. Burke, you're not thinking clearly.
Move your foot. Move your foot.
I'm worried about you.
His family was really weird.
Not a good performance there in the family.
The chemistry between them was awkward. The way that they kind of just threw them in places, like they were like, oh, on some random bridge. Oh, in some random park. Like it's his birthday. Why are you in a park eating a cake? It just seemed
weird.
weird.
Was it a park? It just seemed like their front lawn.
No, it seemed like a park.
But that was a flashback.
Because there were people. Yeah, these are well, that was a flashback.
Yeah.
It just seemed like really weird set locations where it was just like, okay, here's fine, and you just like roll with the scene. It was weird.
Mm-hmm. I also thought Shannon Sossaman.
She wasn't very good.
No.
And also, I find it offensive that they want to act like she is. First of all, I don't think she is old enough to be a teenager's mother, and I also don't think she's old enough to be Matt Dillon's wife.
What's the age difference there?
I have to check, but
I'm working on that right now.
I don't think that works.
Yeah, Charlie Tahan, I believe is how it's pronounced, who plays the son, Ben, really nothing from him at all, of any note. I mean...
So Matt Dillon is 51.
Matt Dillon's 51, okay. Shannon Sossaman.
She's got to be in like
the
early 30s.
He's really 51? He was good for 51.
Yeah, it was 64 he was born.
Good for him.
It's stupid.
I thought that there's a lot of that...
He was actually born in New Rochelle.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wow.
How about that?
What an asshole. I actually thought that they really used this archetype character of the person who's nice to you on the surface, but who has this ominous, threatening quality way too much.
Shannon
I thought that it
Sossaman
worked with Nurse Pam. Yes.
was 37.
37. So 14 years.
She could have a teenager.
Yeah, she could.
She could, but it would be like, oh my God, you're so young to have a teenage son.
She had him when she
It
was
would-
22.
It would be
he's
a la
15.
Lorelai Gilmore, where it's like, oh, that's your daughter?
But that's what it seemed like.
I don't know. I just think
whatever.
the whole setup is really weird, and it makes it.
And first of all, who marries Matt Dillon? Am I right?
It makes the disjointed quality between Matt Dillon's character and his family even more pronounced, because you're just like, they don't even see him like they could fit.
It's definitely a weak point in the story.
Right. But about the townspeople, they all have that same basic character where they all seem nice on the surface, and then once you analyze what they're saying, there's that ominous, threatening quality to it. I thought it worked in the first encounter with the townsperson in Nurse Pam, as she's called. I thought she was really good in the role, and it's certainly not the most original idea to have a nurse who's, on the surface very nice and trying to make you comfortable, but really she's trying to keep him in the town and really in the hospital. So she's restraining him. She's lying to him about where his belongings are and when the doctor's coming. She's doing all this. I thought she was really good in the role, but the issue is after that we meet Sheriff Lucius Lyons, as you said, who's basically, his character is basically the same thing. He's just, he's being nice to Matt Dillon, but he's not giving him any information, and he's also, in a way, threatening him to just go back to the hospital and recuperate. And then there's the person at the bar who he meets, not the bartender, who's his one friend in this whole town, but the owner, I guess you could say, the guy who actually ends up clubbing him in the back.
Mm-hmm.
His character's pretty much the same. All of the townspeople we meet are really the same basic character, and I thought it really diluted that character and really didn't enhance the overall story of the town.
Well, I followed the address that the bartender gave me, and that's where I found Agent Evans, tortured, mutilated. Clearly, he'd been there for quite some time.
Agent Evans.
Bottom line is I was sent here to find 2 of our agents, and now I'm only looking for 1.
What's the name of the other missing agent?
Her name is Kate Hewson.
What does she look like?
27 years of age. Red hair, hazel eyes, beautiful. By anyone's standards.
We'll put the word out.
And if you don't mind now, I'd like to make those calls.
Of course. But what was that address of the dead agent?
604 First Avenue. I'll walk you over there.
Not necessary.
No, I want to.
I don't want you to.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was a little disjointed. I mean, the very matter-of-fact way in which they discuss the dead officer, the secret agent that he finds at the address.
Right.
I think the nurse Pam, as you mentioned, is probably the best one. I mean, Terrence Howard was okay in this.
He's really an afterthought.
He was
really
no Lucius.
No, he wasn't. His whole thing about rum raisin, I understand the point. It was trying to be that small town sheriff. I have more important things, or don't rush me, son. But
it's very, it's very in the M. Night Shyamalan motif where people in his movies will just say something that really has no connection to the overall plot, just to try and add some, I guess, color to their character. But him talking about rum raisin was just like, I know what you're doing here, but
No one likes rum raisin.
there's that.
I like rum raisin.
You're not a human being.
No, butter pecan is the one.
Butter
Nah, not a
pecan
fan
is
of
the
butter
one.
Yeah.
I actually had whiskey raisin when we were in by the Jack Daniels distillery.
That sounds better.
They used Jack Daniels as a base, but it was delicious. And Nathaniel ate almost all of it.
Did he?
Yeah.
He stumbled to go meet Thomas.
He napped on his way home.
I bet.
Another issue I think I found with the show was you're supposed to really feel for the main character, and you're supposed to be like rooting for him to get out and, caring about, his struggle, but you kind of don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think like what often happens with a lot of these shows is they don't spend enough time building up his character or his relationship to his family, so giving us that background that makes us, feel like we are connected to him before he even gets in this situation. He, like, right off the bat is, he wakes up, he's in this town, so we don't have that initial connection with him prior to that. Mm-hmm. And all we see is like him in this craziness.
Right.
So.
And from what we find out about him, he's not really the nicest guy. I mean, we found out he cheats on his wife because one of the agents that he's looking for, he actually had an affair with.
His partner.
Right. The first time he has that confrontation with Nurse Pam in the hospital, he's maybe a little too agitated or a little too, quick to yell, where it's like, I understand that you're not getting what you want right now, but it's largely believable that she's just trying to keep you in bed because you just had a car accident. You don't have to go crazy on her right away.
Right, but he's also a Secret Service agent and with high clearance, I would imagine, so he's probably used to people just doing what he wants. I mean, I don't know. You could argue that it's probably
Right,
an
but that's not really a
intention of the
likable quality.
No, I'm not saying it's likable. Maybe you're not supposed to like him.
Well, and this show really isn't going to function very well because he's the one you have to like, because otherwise why do I care about him getting out of there?
Maybe you're supposed to care about everybody else, and he's just a vehicle for it. I don't know. I'm just saying, depending.
That sounds like a poor method of delivery for the show.
I don't think he's likable enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can have unlikable qualities, and usually the best characters do have flaws and some major flaw that you could at least, makes it like a human being, but
you have to see them as a human being, and I just don't feel like you do.
He's very caught up in his work, and he cares more about finding this agent than he does. He only leaves 2 messages for his wife and son over 2 days, whereas I'm sure he probably called everybody and anybody's number that he had. Although I found it funny that
he called the numbers that he remembered.
He only remembered
his house phone.
You'd remember your boss's number if you're a Secret Service agent, unless they don't want you to remember it. So I was like, okay.
He did remember.
No, he called the main number.
Right, and then actually, if you listen to it, it's Nurse Pam on the phone.
Yeah. Was it Nurse Pam or was it?
It sounded just like Nurse Pam.
Nurse Pam.
I was gonna say it's either Nurse Pam or the secretary up front.
No,
I knew it wasn't.
She has a. You mean the at the
Lucius
sheriff's
Lyons
office.
secretary.
No, she has a very distinct voice. Like I remember her from other things because of that. Like the way that she says things.
Mm-hmm. It's very southern. It's
No, she just has. It's almost like a slight lisp or something when she talks, and it's just something that you really pick up on.
Hi, Ernie. There's a man here to see you who says he's a secret agent or something.
Special agent.
I don't know. He's very disheveled. Okay. You can go on back. He's the last office on the right.
I thought something that they did that was actually quite good and will stretch the longevity of the show, even though it's only a 10-episode run, is the fact that Matt Dillon alludes to him possibly, what's the word I'm looking for? Relapsing.
Yes.
So he clearly has some issues either with alcohol or some drug abuse that possibly could be the cause of everything going on, and maybe it's just going on in his head.
It's
right,
not...
which is something I'm thinking about in that this may be a bigger story than appears. But the problem is, I think if there's nothing to cheer for, I'd almost rather see him just die in this town. I actually felt more for Juliette Lewis in this.
She's much more likable in this show than she was in Secrets and Lies.
Oh, without a doubt.
Which makes Secrets and Lies all the more confusing.
It's the writing.
I mean, she's the bartender who he meets, who becomes his only friend, who actually, was it that she arrived there in the year 1999?
Right.
Because she was going to update the computers.
For the Y2K bug.
Right, and she thinks she's only been there a year.
Right.
So there is this weird thing happening with time where when he finally encounters
his partner,
same thing happens to her.
No,
she thinks she's been there for like 15 years.
12 years.
And she's...
that's what I mean.
And she's only been there 5 weeks.
Right. Because it couldn't have been that long.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when she said a year, I was like, oh, God, I hope this isn't some stupid timepiece where now it's like 20, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then thankfully they corrected it. So there's little interesting bits that make you kind of want to watch the rest, but at the same time, I just didn't have an interest enough in finding out what happens to Matt Dillon to care to stick around.
Yeah. A lot of people have talked about this being somewhat similar to Twin Peaks. Now, I've never really seen enough of Twin Peaks to talk about it, but from what I understand, I could buy it. Yeah, it's a small community, weird things happening. Yeah, makes sense. Good on you if you've written that in the recent past.
Lots of people have.
Yeah. The other thing, too, that's interesting is that his boss or director knows exactly what is going on.
Yes.
Do you see the psychiatrist knows him and realizes that...
and he seems to have had some hand in starting it all.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's ulterior motives. That, like I said, there are little things in this that make you want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely a show that I would either stream later to catch up and watch one more episode. I am not tuning into another one now.
Right. Chris, you
I think
would?
ultimately it's just overall it's confusing, really. And that whole you don't know who to trust aspect, I feel like as it's been handled better in shows, it was just a little too...
But that's exactly what, if you remember on, what was that stupid show called? American Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I hated how much that show used that idea of, oh, this person is a good person, but they're really a bad person.
But I thought the way it was handled on American Odyssey was actually more interesting.
I thought they just did it too often.
I think because it was more, I don't know, there was more of you got the front-facing side and you also got the back side. Mm-hmm. That sounds really wrong.
You get it all. Wrong.
But you saw both sides. You didn't see them at the same time. Like you saw you saw them being nice to him, and then you saw in private that they were really, double-crossing them. Whereas this is just like, he's staring at them, and they're saying something, and it's clearly known that there's a lie being told.
Yeah.
Like, so there was no distinction.
I mean, there are some interesting things, as Brian mentioned. I think one of them is the fact that his partner is, or seemingly quite content in being in this town. He even tells, she even tells him that, you could have a happy life here. Yeah. So there are things, as Brian said, that would drive you to watch more. I just don't have enough interest in the character of Ethan Burke to actually stick to it.
No, he's not. Like I said, there's just not enough there for you to really form a connection with him. And is it just me, or does M. Night Shyamalan really like building walls around communities?
Well, yeah.
He likes that idea of being closed in, yes. Maybe it's indicative of his Indian heritage.
They're all like that, right? Didn't he have one?
Well, no, Sixth Sense isn't.
Does he have a movie about like fog?
The Happening.
Is that what it's? Okay.
Well, The Happening is... It's like, it's the plants are letting out this weird thing that's killing people and making them
trapped.
kill themselves. No. Well, I mean, they're trapped.
They're trapped.
They're on Earth. The village, they're trapped.
Yeah.
Or they're just
the village is literally a wall. There's literally a wall that they have to climb over.
I want to hear what you had this at, Chris, in terms of ratings.
I had this at a 2.5.
2.5 out of 5. Brian, you had this at?
3.25.
3.25.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I thought it was a good average show. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really good summer show. I don't think it's a good mid-season replacement, although this technically could be.
It's pretty late. It's almost summer.
Yeah.
Sweeps are happening and all that stuff. So I think it's a good summer show. I think it's different enough from what's on. So if you're really looking for something new on network TV, but to me, this is more of a binge thing than a week to week.
Mm-hmm. I had this at 2.25. I thought that some of the aspects were interesting, but they overused that attempt to build drama and tension through ominous characters, and we've seen that so much. And I didn't have a genuine interest in the lead.
I think the problem is that the things that work so well for M. Night Shyamalan in a movie just don't work in a TV show because it's being pulled and drawn out just for too long, and you really need that that resolution, that understanding. Otherwise, you're just sitting there confused for, weeks and weeks.
It's interesting. Woody Allen recently was talking about how doing a show for Amazon, because he signed on to produce a series with them, is maybe the hardest thing he's ever had to do in his life, just because he knows how to pace a movie rather, and how to put together a movie. But putting together a 30-minute show and leading to another episode and doing all that is totally foreign to him.
It's very different.
Yeah. One last thing before we leave Wayward Pines, if we can. Get it? Because it's like we're trapped. Did you catch the joke that that Ethan's wife tells her son when they're by the bay? It's like, God, it's so bad. What kind of fish can you find in a hospital?
Sturgeon.
Fuck you. I literally wrote, fuck you.
That,
I
think
I didn't understand
he's 17,
why.
not 7.
I think
I
that
didn't
joke
understand
probably is why it really did not come together as a family.
But I don't understand why she said it. I thought maybe
they somehow knew, but they were in the hospital.
Yeah, she knew that her husband was in the hospital, but she doesn't find out till after she makes that joke.
Maybe she has a premonition.
It's just ridiculous.
Yes, Chris, it's called foreshadowing.
There is a movie where she has premonitions, where she sees the future, which also had Heath Ledger.
Oh.
I forget what it's called now.
Is
It was bad.
Is it an M. Night Shyamalan
It
movie?
was awful. Let me see if I can find what it's called.
All right, well, going to actual ratings on this premiered May 14th, not too long ago, in the 9 o'clock hour on Fox, and it was up against a lot of stiff competition. Not only the season finale of Scandal, but also the season finale of The Blacklist. So as you can imagine, didn't do all too well. In 18 to 49, it had a 1.0 rating with a 3 share and 3.76 million viewers overall. That means it just got trounced by Scandal, which had a 2.3 rating in 18 to 49 and 8 million viewers. It did, however, beat Rain on CW, which isn't much of a shock. It was the season finale of that too, so you think the viewership would come in on that, but that only had a 0.3 rating with a 1 share and not even 1 million viewers for the season finale of Rain.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. It's tough competition over there.
Yeah, when you have to fight Scandal and the season finale of Scandal and the season finale of The Blacklist, it's tough to beat.
It was called The Order. And if I remember
There's
correctly,
a title that you'll remember.
If I remember correctly, she was in love with Heath Ledger, and he was a priest.
Oh.
And he was in love with her too, and
couldn't he just leave the?
Do you remember the
Couldn't he just leave the priesthood or
the fat friend from oh my god, A Knight's Tale?
Mm-hmm.
He was also
the
in
fat
it.
one?
He was another priest.
God, they just recycle casts.
Yeah, they really did.
Fish tacos.
Yes. You know what kind of fish you can find in a hospital?
No, what?
A sturgeon.
Haha.
Yeah.
All right, well, we talked about it. It's time to get into it. You'll remember last time on The Flash, folks, Barry Allen and the gang, Cisco, Caitlin, Joe, they were all trying to trick Eobard Thawne into confessing that he had killed Barry's mom. Of course, since it's this ragtag group, didn't work. It actually led to the death of one Hannibal Bates. And Eobard Thawne not only got away, but in fact ended up kidnapping Eddie.
Correct.
This week, rather these last 2 episodes, a lot of big stuff happened on The Flash. We get to meet very important villain for the first time. And we get quite the showdown in one of these episodes. So it's time, once again, to look in on Barry Allen, Central City's Scarlet superhero. It's time once again for... Well, Chris, what's the opposite of a flash forward?
Flashback.
Savior of the universe. Flash. You saved every one of us.
Yes, indeed, it's the Flashback. We're going to be looking at 2 episodes here, episode 21 and 22 of The Flash. Let's start with episode 21, Grodd Lives. And there's only one person that can tell us all about Grodd Lives. That ape-loving girl herself, Chris.
What?
I don't know, you love apes.
Since when?
If I say it, it's true.
First of all, I'm the one that ran for the gorillas at the bunker.
That's true.
Do you want to?
Do you want to take this?
Go ahead. You can take it. It's
I'll
fine.
take the next one.
I don't care, but I want to do it. Chris, take it away.
I'll take them both.
No, Chris, take it away.
Okay. In Grodd Lives, we finally meet Grodd up close and personal. And basically, the episode starts off with a spree of crimes with a mysterious guy dressed in a full armor suit, which turns out to be the missing General Eiling.
Yes. Clancy Brown.
But he is not cognitive of what he's doing and has been put under
Grodd's monkey spell. Yeah.
essentially. And Grodd can actually speak through him to the gang at the lab, and they set off to basically try and find Grodd, because they think that will bring them closer to finding Dr. Wells.
And they take it to the sewer.
Yeah.
Take it to the sewer where Grodd lives. Joe eventually gets kidnapped by Grodd.
He does, which some of the best acting was Joe being
Yes.
terrified of
Yes,
that.
it was. Maybe the best 60 seconds of acting on The Flash
Because
so far.
honestly, Grodd, the special effects for Grodd were a little
Bleak.
disappointing. So, you know.
You gotta remember, he's
Joe's
talking to
acting.
like a couple of ping pong balls.
Yeah.
And just how he was able to go from like confused to
Like,
scared to
Incredibly terrified.
genuinely terrified. Because it should be said, Grodd is basically making him almost kill himself. You know, he's
Yeah.
controlling his hand telepathically to nearly pull the trigger on his gun. So Joe has to basically face the fact that he's going to die by the hand of this telepathic gorilla. And
Who's enormous.
he's very big. And within 60 seconds, Jesse L. Martin never made me question his believability, never made me question how real this was, just gave us a wonderful performance.
What are you doing to me? Help! Sentinel, help me! I can hear you in my head. You are telepathic. Father, you mean Wells? Wells, is that what you mean? Where is he? Not here. Wait. Here. Is this what you want? You can have it. It's yours. Grodd, hate, banana.
So Barry obviously has to rescue Joe, and he does so. He tries at one point the old girder special, with Supersonic Punch Baby,
Christ.
which is its official name now because that's what Cisco called it.
As soon as he said that it was going to happen, I was like, no, it's not going to work because Iris isn't there.
That's right. It's a two-part system here, Barry.
If you don't have Iris to deliver the knockout punch, you know.
It's funny
not gonna work.
that actual move, the Supersonic Punch, has never worked effectively.
Which I don't understand why they keep
going to it,
bringing it back. I mean, yeah, we're going to try the Supersonic Punch because it worked so well last time.
Barry, didn't work. Try it again. But Barry is actually eventually able to not only defeat Grodd, but break himself of the spell Grodd has him under by really being inspired by Iris's words to fight Grodd and to basically trick Grodd into jumping in front of a train.
Which, we're going to have to talk about that
We
as
will
well.
get to all of that.
Okay.
This is actually a really important episode for Iris because, as you remember, the end of last episode, she finds out that Barry is the Flash. So here, she confronts him. She confronts everybody.
Yes.
She goes on a fucking tear. And I thought, certainly the best episode of Candice Patton's acting career on The Flash.
I'll second that.
I mean, she brought genuine passion and emotion to most every scene she was in. Towards the end, it got a little bit tedious where it's like, all right, listen, you don't have to yell at Caitlin for lying. You guys don't have the best relationship in the world. Just because you fought crime the week before doesn't mean she's going to tell you her life story. But I thought in the scene with Barry in the beginning when she finds out that Joe has in fact known and didn't tell her, and also in the scene with Joe when she just yells at him about not telling her not only that Barry was the Flash, but also that Barry was in love with her, I thought she showed genuine emotion and had a real natural climax to, I'm using the word climax a lot this week.
You are.
It's a good word. Climax to that crescendo of anger. I thought it was very good.
Baby, the way I went about things. No, I was wrong. I was just trying to keep you safe.
You know, that excuse is getting really old. First it was the police academy, and then it was dating Eddie, and now this.
Sweetheart, you know what the man in yellow is capable of. He killed cops, he killed Mason Bridge.
Wells killed Mason. And you're covering that up?
No.
If the world finds out about Wells, they find out about Barry. I'm trying to keep him safe, too.
Did you ever stop to think that looping me in would keep me safe? That if I knew what was going on out there, I could prepare for it? Maybe I could have helped you and Barry put the bad guys away instead of being in the way.
Believe me, I ask myself that question every single day. Every time you posted something new about the Flash on your blog.
Dad, it's not just about Barry being the Flash. You knew how he felt about me for God knows how long, and you didn't tell me that either.
That wasn't for me to tell, Iris.
Well, you know what? If any of you had been honest with me, maybe Eddie would still be here. He wouldn't have gotten involved in all of this if I hadn't been dating him.
Are you saying if you had known how Barry felt?
What I am saying is that what happened to Eddie is your fault.
When you were talking about the scene where she's talking to Barry in the beginning, something that bothered me was he says that Joe knew, and her automatic response when he said that Joe knew was, he told you not to tell me. Barry didn't say anything about him saying, don't tell Iris. But it's naturally assumed that it was Papa Fillins that said, no, don't tell him. And I was just like, that's a weird jump to make.
Well, is it really? Because you have to remember, she's the daughter of this police detective who's probably been trying to shield her from stuff for years. We actually find out in this episode that he kept her out of the academy, the police academy.
Yeah.
So, she obviously recognizes this pattern of protection, albeit unwarranted protection, and I would be fed up if this happened to me.
Yeah, Barry might not have wanted her to know. So, stop jumping on Papa Fillins.
I mean, like I said, I was just really impressed with Candace Patton after this episode. She went from being tied for the worst actor on the show to a strong second worst actor on the show.
See, that's the thing though. I didn't see her acting as that strong in this episode only because I was too focused on the ridiculousness of her character. It really bothered me. I mean, I understand you haven't been in On the Secret, but the fact that like you just found out that you're, basically your like foster brother, your best friend has special powers and has been like putting himself in danger to try and save people and been going through all of this shit for the past few months, and the only thing you can think of is me. Like, what about the fact that he just told you his mother was killed by Dr. Wells?
I thought she did a pretty good job of like selling shock at everything, because they fill her in on basically everything. It's like every other sentence is, what? This happened?
But she didn't say jack shit about it. She's like, oh, and now Eddie's gonna die. Like, the whole time, it's all about her. And that just really bothered me, because I'm like, this is some big shit that you just found out that Barry's been going through. And all you can think about is the fact that he didn't tell you earlier. Do
you think that she spent too much of this episode lecturing people? Because that's a complaint I saw a lot.
Yeah, she was very whiny.
But this is always my problem with Iris.
Almost like she threw a temper tantrum, because she's like, guys, why didn't you tell me you were the Flash and that you liked me and Eddie was going to propose and you said no, and
but this is the problem. That's what her character always is. Her character is always telling people, oh no, why aren't you doing things my way? Oh no, why is it not about me? Like, everything is always about Iris.
I thought she took a step forward here in terms of her character, because in that scene when she's talking to Joe about not telling her that Barry was the Flash, she points out that she doesn't need to be protected. She maybe could have been protected more if they had told her. I thought that was good, because it made her less a dependent figure and less, a figure that needs to be protected, and really illustrated her independence. Yes. I thought that was great.
I thought that was great too. But my issue is, at every turn, it seemed that she was throwing it in Barry's face that Eddie was still missing. And I thought that was fucked up. Because what the fuck are you doing to try and get Eddie back?
Like, they're on a bit of a different plane here. One's a superpowered superhero, and one is this pretty shitty reporter.
Really? Because she likes to act like she can hang with the big boys, and she can make a difference. Why aren't they including her? Because she's, a valuable member. So then, do something to fucking get him back. You put all this shit on Barry. How many times in the very beginning of the episode did she go, oh, have you found anything on Eddie? And she literally keeps poking him with it. Because she knows that he's the Flash. And she does it on purpose, and she's being a bitch about it. It really pissed me off.
She takes out Nightshade in the next episode, I think.
She keeps.
Why are you throwing shade?
She did keep poking Barry. It's better than the alternative, but I mean, it's a joke about. All right, I do understand what you're saying. She is very
annoying.
Not annoying.
It's passive aggressive and like, I don't know. It's just messed up because you know how much it affects Barry that he can't find Eddie, that he's looked all over the place, and that he's going out of his mind trying to find Eddie because he made a promise to Iris.
But listen, in defense of Iris, maybe she feels that since Barry's always loved her, maybe he's not looking as hard for Eddie because he doesn't want him back in the picture.
He's the Flash. He puts himself on the line all the time to save people.
But this is someone directly in his way. So I'm not trying to say
to not hurt fucking villains. He goes out of his way not to kill people.
We'll get there.
Yes, but
we'll get to that episode.
But even in previous episodes, and Iris has been there.
But Eddie,
she delivered that helping punch to Girder, so she knows he doesn't harm people. So why is he going to go out of his way to harm Eddie?
Well, he's not going to harm him. He's just not going to find him.
If he's leaving him with Dr. Wells.
You hit on something I want to talk about, Chris. It's evident in this episode, but really along or across the whole season. Grant Gustin, or Barry Allen, but talking about the performance, Grant Gustin here creates possibly the most likable character on TV right now. I mean, he's a superhero, so that's awesome. But he's so genuine. He's so, he tries to fix the problems that he perceives to have caused. He's nice to everybody. He tries to fix everybody's issues. At one point, he tells Iris that she should blame him and not Joe.
Yeah.
So he tries to mend that relationship.
That's another thing.
Okay.
When she tells Barry that it's Papa Phil's fault, I'm like, how the fuck did you get to that? Mm-hmm. How is it his fault that he got taken? He wasn't there. He had nothing to do with it.
No, but
because
if he had told me, I wouldn't.
If he had told me that Barry was the Flash, then Eddie wouldn't have gotten taken because that makes any sense. Because that would have stopped, the Reverse Flash.
But I mean, not only is the character of Barry Allen incredibly likable, Gustin's performance is he has this innate likability in him where he's got this everyman quality where you can see yourself as Barry Allen as opposed to someone like Ronnie Raymond, Robbie Amell, who I not only would I never picture myself as Firestorm, but he seems like kind of a jackass and also not really an everyman in any context. I think Grant Gustin is doing a great job here.
I'm just reading over my notes. Like, some of the things in this episode are so ridiculous.
Like Tom Cavanagh?
No, hold on. So, when Barry goes after Grodd, after he tries to do the supersonic punch, and he basically has that headset that stops him from being telepathically controlled. Grodd throws him through a wall. And Cisco goes, the headset stopped working. He's like, it seems like it impacted with something. I'm like, he went through a wall, yes.
They have no camera.
It impacted with something.
Good guess, Cisco.
I'm sorry, it was just ridiculous.
Oh, I don't know. I agree with Al. He's not there watching it. He wouldn't
I don't know. I'm sorry, when I was watching it, I was just like, this is the most fucking ridiculous shit. Like, honestly, you guys might have liked the episode, but it like really has put the show in like a downward spiral for me.
Okay.
Like basically not between. Iris's whininess has really just put a damper on the whole show for me. Like her getting on that soapbox, telling everyone what their business should be. It really just pisses me off. And like, I don't need to see that for a whole episode. Like, I don't.
Iris B. Wilden. There you go.
One last thing on Iris before we talk about Tom Cavanagh, which it's that time of the week again, folks. They have to stop being surprised when Iris walks into Star Labs.
Yes.
She somehow is always being able to that doesn't make any sense. She somehow is always able to sneak into Star Labs without anyone noticing. She's done this like 15 times. She does it twice in this episode. Buy a fucking security system. Candace Patton actually had to come up with some shitty logic on Twitter to explain this because she must have been getting bombarded by complaints about this. She said that in a very joking manner, well, it's easy to get in if you slip the guard $100. So there's a guard? I'm being a dick here, but honestly, her explanation was more explanation than we've ever gotten.
Put a bell on her.
Put a bell on her.
Really?
That's right.
I mean,
she's a cat.
Mhm.
Catty woman.
She is. I
Devilish
mean, this
woman.
episode. Come on.
All right, Tom Cavanagh. Stop doing that thing that you do that you know I don't like. Okay? That's the easiest way to say it.
Are we done?
That's the most
I think
direct
we're done with
way.
that.
I mean, there are times, it's that fucking seesaw acting of his where at times he's very good as that soft-spoken, methodical, very well thought out villain. He's great in that respect. But when he gets into this boastful overacting that he must have picked up from somebody else whose name I won't mention, it's just the worst. It's just the worst. That scene when I think it was the second scene when he and Eddie are talking to each other when he goes into his underground bunker. And he's just like, oh, no, Eobard is a very respected name. Many successful people throughout history have been named Eobard. You're going to be the only member of our family that doesn't amount to anything, Eddie.
Yep.
It's like, are you trying to destroy the rest of your character with this over-the-top performance? Because that's what you're doing.
You know they're gonna find me. And you're not as smart as you think you are.
Oh, really? Because I'm a genius where I come from. Imagine how smart that makes me here.
Because you're from the future. The name like Eobard, I guess you'd have to be.
Oh, no, Eobard is a distinguished name for a distinguished member of a distinguished family.
Depressing to think all of my descendants are as crazy as you.
Oh, no. The Thawne bloodline is chock full of influential politicians, scientists, captains of industry failures. Such as yourself are just the exception.
And what exactly makes me such a failure?
Tough question, Eddie, where to start? Oh, how about your career as a police detective? It's spectacularly uneventful.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
No, we have seen. I am from the future, and you are the only Thawne to be all but forgotten by history.
Well, you just go back in time and fix it again anyway, so it's not a problem.
He can't, though.
He's so bad. Also, just as a side note.
No, he can't, but later on he can.
There is not...
I don't think he's going back in time after he finally gets back. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like, if you get into a situation like that once, you never want to get stuck in it again. It's just not happening.
He just wants to get...
I just want to go
back. Where
back.
he's from.
But for such a smart man, he's so blinded by his hatred of the Flash that he could end up doing something stupid again.
And his love of shitty acting. Also, just so it's said, there's not one scene that Tom Cavanagh's in this episode where he's not going up or down a ladder. I felt bad for the guy because it's like every scene he's in, and he's in like 3 or 4 of them, has to either start or end with him walking up or down a ladder.
I think that might have been intentional to show him out of the wheelchair and moving around. Like there's no longer...
I can't wait till the next episode when he does like jumping jacks. That's right.
Because you've seen him so long in this wheelchair, and you've seen him a couple times running around, this reverse flash, the reverse flash. But for the most part, as Dr. Wells, he's in a wheelchair. Now, why not? Let's capitalize. Let's get this guy to go up and down ladders.
Oh no, Dr. Wells got a jump rope. What's he gonna do here?
Calisthenics.
Why don't we talk about Grodd?
Let's talk about Grodd.
So, one thing that really bothered, well, besides the special effects, which we already got to.
Not the best.
It was more like when the light hit him, it was, the way it shined off of him was just really weird.
They were aggressive. I think there were some scenes where the special effects are very good.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as you mentioned, there are some close-ups where they got very aggressive in what they thought they could do, and it was just like the whole train sequence.
Let's talk about the train sequence. My issue with the train sequence was it made absolutely no goddamn sense. If Grodd, that enormous gorilla, were hit by a train, first of all, the train would derail.
Likely.
If it did not derail, the conductor would have stopped. Mm-hmm. Neither of which happened.
And you would also think Grodd would sustain some sort of injury, but we see him at the end of the episode just like climbing up the side of a building.
I can understand that because he's a freaking superpowered gorilla.
Yeah, but he just took a shot from a steaming train rolling down the tracks.
Steaming? It was
Steaming.
It was electric.
Hot
There's
train.
No steam. Anyway, that bothered me because it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And why was there a second train right after the first train?
That was the weirdest thing. It was like...
It was unnatural proximity.
You know what it is? Obviously, this took place on the 6th line. And it's like, they were probably waiting for 20 minutes, and then 2 of them came one right after the other.
Yeah, but it was just too close. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just asking for trouble.
Chris, the power of love defeats all issues with physics or logic.
Or
Barry
train
loves Iris.
systems.
Barry loves Iris. That's how it solves everything. It's a one-cover cure. Takes care of everything. You were saying.
Yeah, do you guys have anything else to add about Grodd?
About Grodd, no, but I do have some little things I want to talk
But
about.
then one more thing about Grodd.
By
then.
all means.
I think the biggest takeaway from this whole show is Grodd hate banana.
Grodd hate banana. That's right. Jesse L. Martin nearly got himself killed by offering Grodd. And it's all Cisco's fault, too.
Yeah, I thought that was...
He's like, did he eat the banana?
I thought that was kind of douchey on their part to assume that a gorilla would want a banana.
That's right. They're at fault here for going with the old stereotype.
I thought it was
gorillas.
interesting that they also made Joe give him the banana.
All right. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. One of them, Danielle Panabaker should always be wearing a leather
A
skirt.
brown leather skirt.
God
I felt so bad for her
damn.
though when she was walking because they had her in like 4-inch stiletto heels and made her climb up to this thing that was grating.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, her heel's gonna get stuck in that grate. Why would you make her do this?
I think General Eiling said it best. Caitlin Good. Caitlin Good, indeed. I also thought that Clancy Brown did a pretty good job of speaking as though he was being controlled by a gorilla.
I was actually surprised by how well a job he did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a voice actor. He knows what he's
doing. But he's a voice actor. Like, you're looking at him.
No, but he's had experience. But yes, very good job. I thought totally believable, and I love his fucking voice.
General, do you remember me?
Flash. Oh, how does he know you're the Flash?
I don't know. General.
Eiling, not here. Eiling, bad.
Maybe it's some kind of psychotic break presenting itself as dissociative identity disorder?
Caitlin. Good.
Thank you.
Forget multiple personalities. You guys have seen The Exorcist, right?
You and your movies. Keep talking to him. He seems to respond to you.
Why is Eiling bad?
Eiling hurt me. I hurt Eiling.
Okay. So if you're not Eiling, then who are you?
I am Grodd. Fear me.
What is a Grodd?
One of the things that I realized, which I don't know how I didn't realize this earlier, is that Iris is pretty much just the poor man's Lois Lane, where she loves the superhero, but only when he's the superhero, even though she's always around the alter ego. Mm-hmm. She totally discounts the geeky sweet guy.
She's a reporter.
Yes. But she just doesn't have that sass or grit or, wittiness that Lois has. And that's why it's awful.
Lois can be whiny in the...
And she's not voiced by Dana Delaney, so it's even worse.
In the animated series, there's a couple of episodes that she's a little whiny, but you're right. The real Lois Lane just trumps Iris. Without a doubt.
In every single way.
She's playing with Superman.
Yeah, well.
All right, let's go to ratings on this. Chris.
Wait, before we move on, now that everybody knows that Barry is a Flash, and we know General Eiling knows that Barry's a Flash, why does he even bother wearing a mask?
Because there are other people who
in the world
find out. And many of his villains don't know that he's Barry Allen.
Nah, stop. Everybody knows.
Nobody knows.
Captain
really
Cold
don't.
knows.
He's the only one, though.
Oh, we're going to talk about Wentworth Miller coming up. Well, let's get ratings on this first. Chris, what did you have this on?
I gave this a 3.
Mm-hmm.
which I think is pretty fair because it was just not my favorite episode. It was too much Iris, not enough Papa villains.
Yeah. Papa villain was excellent. Yes.
I thought the villain was good, but at the same time,
physics aside,
I'm confused by the way they left the episode.
Well,
because he was climbing and then he jumped, and
right, and that's just
then nothing happens in the next episode.
That's just fan service. One of the stories I thought was really interesting that they told here was that this whole team, Caitlin, Cisco, and Barry, had to recuperate from the loss of Dr. Wells and had to try and, conduct business as usual without that person there. I thought it was a good story to tell. I didn't necessarily love the story of Iris being that missing component. I knew it was a story that had to be told, but I didn't really care for it. But I did like the fact that they touched on how the loss of Dr. Wells affected the rest of the group.
Can I also say I approved about the minimized amount of time of Eddie also?
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
He doesn't say a lot. And he's just spending a lot of time with his great-great-grandson in the bunker, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Brian, you had this at?
3.5.
3.5. I actually had this at a 4. I liked a lot of it. I thought very good performances, mostly across the board.
Actually, wait. 3 3/4.
All right. Candace Patton really impressed me. I thought another good week for Grant Gustin and Jesse L. Martin. Very good. And I thought the villain served the purpose. And
Grodd was good. And then they teased him through the season, with a little teaser here, a little teaser there. He pops, and then to bring him up and introduce him this way, it shows a better understanding of the writers understanding the show itself, planting little things, season-long arcs, and hopefully good stuff for season 2. Because he is going to be a nemesis of the Flash.
Absolutely, and he's still out there. Looking at actual ratings, this aired on May 5th, Tuesday, of course, on CW in the 8 o'clock hour. This had a 1.4 rating in terms of 18 to 49 with a 5 share and 3.62 million viewers. Bit of a drop from the episode before, but that prior episode was really built up as an important one. But, did well enough to actually tie Dancing with the Stars in terms of 18 to 49 ratings.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Let's go now to the second episode we're talking about here today, episode 22, Rogue Air, where we get to see, a lot of people Al doesn't like. Brian, why don't you tell us about this one?
So this is your penultimate episode for the season. A lot happens in this episode, actually, one of which I was actually not expecting to happen. But essentially, Dr. Wells has now played his wild card and he reactivates the particle accelerator. Cisco is able to not turn off this device, but somehow ascertain that it's going to take 36 hours to reach full capacity, which I don't understand how that worked out.
Shot in the dark. Turned out to be right.
In those 36 hours now, they have to prepare for this particle accelerator to be on again. So that involves Barry, being the good guy that he is, having to get rid of the prisoners they have, or the metahuman prisoners they have at the pipeline prison, right? That's what they call it, the pipeline prison?
Yeah.
Realizing he can't do it on his own, he enlists the help of the wonderful Captain Cold. And Captain Cold pulls the rug out from under him and ends up letting the rogue
go away. Does
gallery,
the old heel turn.
Yeah. Escape. Everything that's been accomplished this entire season has been lost, which is kind of hacky in that, now you're going to see these villains again. Like,
it had to happen. I mean,
but
they established so many characters here and had them all walked away, but unless they're going to introduce 13 new villains.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. It's just, we did lose one, which was, we lost was it the rage-inducing guy?
No, you know who it was? It was actually someone we had never seen on The Flash before. He was actually an Arrow villain. who was locked away in the particle accelerator.
All right, good. So that makes sense. I couldn't figure out. I was like, why would they kill the rage-inducing guy? That's the guy you want in a Prison Break. And then, of course, we have the Prison Break whole tie-in with Wentworth Miller, who was on that show.
That's right.
This leads to Joe chastising Barry because I told you so, and this is why you can't trust people. And he realizes that the battle with the Reverse Flash, Dr. Wells, Eobard Thawne is going to happen now, and he cannot do it alone. And so he enlists the Amell cousins,
right.
the Green Arrow,
The fabulous Amell boys. Yeah.
and Ronnie Stein.
Yeah.
And they have a huge fight.
You
and
do.
At the end of it, Dr. Wells has been captured.
So yes, he gets an arrow to the leg. Some of Ray Palmer's nanites go into him, slowing him down, and it ends with Dr. Wells on the floor prone and Barry above him. So get ready for the season finale, which Barry does his taxes and puts away some old files that he meant to.
So that's pretty much what I guess what was shocking in this is that you have the entire season set up for him to catch the Reverse Flash, and now he catches him with a whole episode left, and not just that. Next week's episode is an extra 3 minutes long.
Oh, we're gonna pull in that audience on the hour change.
I don't think it's really him.
You don't think it's Hannibal Bates back again?
No, I don't think it's really him because he before the fight started, he kind of he used that weird ring thing.
But that ring is actually it's quite famous in Flash lore. It's basically the Flash's ring that his suit comes out of.
Okay. Because it kind of seemed like you projected something out of it.
It's just the Flash ring. I think what's going to happen is, the episode starts this week and it's like, oh, I wanted you to capture me so I could be inside of here. Suckers.
No,
he needed the particle accelerator to be back online. Yep. Obviously, he needs to be there. So,
but he could get in and out so easily.
But he wants
not with their top-notch security.
That's right.
System.
They've got Robbie Amell bringing the heat, literally and figuratively. He can't deal with that.
Can we talk about him for a second and
Robbie
he's bringing
Amell?
the heat? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you noticed when he's flying around and when he lands, he does this super weird neck bobble thing where it's like...
It's Ronnie Stein. He's like... It's Frankenstein.
No, it likes it's you guys can't see it obviously, but
I'm having a great time.
Do you remember? Okay, do you remember on From Dusk Till Dawn, the TV show?
Yes.
The snake guy, when he would eat someone,
Wilmer Valderrama,
his neck would do the same thing, and that's all I could think about. It was like, what the fuck is going on?
It might be whatever rig he's on when they have him flying around. That his is like these weird shoulder pads, and then when he moves, or
you guys have to. If you didn't notice it, you need to go back and watch it.
It bothered me a lot.
It is the most ridiculous thing,
and it was very awkward. It was strange. I chalked it up to he's still learning how to do what he's doing, but it's too late at this point.
He's been in like 5 episodes.
Yeah, so at this point he should
Maybe
have
the
flying down pat.
And also, he's been an actor for several years. He should have the acting down pat. And luckily, in this episode,
he barely says a word.
He says almost nothing.
He does.
They're playing to his strong suit, which is standing there and saying nothing.
Yep.
Honestly, we also see Oliver Queen, the Arrow here. He was fine, I thought, for the most part. I thought overall this episode a visible decrease in quality. I thought that a lot of the performances weren't as good as the week before. I thought Barry or Grant Gustin still had a good week, but Joe didn't even blow me away, and usually he's outstanding.
I think it was a very monumental task in terms of production for the season. They had so many elements in terms of you have the prison break, so you got everybody together. You have the whole transport scene. You have Captain Cold. You have the Golden
Glider. Cisco gives it her official name.
Golden
Again,
Glider.
Women be using Cisco for more than him. It's like, oh, Cisco, you're so sexy. Give me a name, why don't you? All right, you're Golden Glider. See ya, bitch. And she's gone.
She just glides right out. As far as the episode goes, I thought it was just too ambitious, and maybe that's what kind of caught him. It was almost rushed, which is probably my biggest problem with this whole episode, even though I liked it more than last week's. I think overall, just because of I thought the fight was good. If it was any longer, it would have been too long. I did not like Ronnie Stein's participation in it, although I understand why. If they've ended it already, he will be back probably next episode, which is part of my, when we throw out the
he's coming back. I can confirm.
So I understood why. I like the way in which they captured, I like the way in which they teamed up and captured Dr. Wells, Eobard, Dawn, whatever, Reverse Flash. They outsmarted him, not scientifically, but just based on something he wasn't expecting.
Right. Bitch, I got back up.
Although a lot of people were upset that, they shot him with an arrow, and shouldn't he surely be able to move faster than an arrow?
Well, the idea was they're distracting him.
Right, and that's what I said. Come on, he was distracted. He's cocky. He's not used to having to fight more than one person, or he's always had the upper hand. And therefore he never thought, he'd have much of a challenge. And let's face it, Ronnie was really more of a fucking handicap than anything.
Yeah, he did not help a lot. He ended up knocking Dr. Wells off the top of Star Labs so that Oliver Queen could then shoot him. But for the most part, he's a hindrance more than a help. I mean, right. Barry has to go run like a mile away and catch him before he hits the ground because the idiot got beaten up by Dr. Wells.
Which I didn't get.
I don't know.
It's like, you fly.
Didn't he do the whole quick arm thing? Was that it?
No, he did that.
No, Barry did the quick arm thing for the
gas guy.
Oh, yes. Kyle Nimbus.
Blowing away your stank.
That was one of the fun things about this week is like, look at our whole pantheon of hilarious villains. We've got the Mist, Kyle Nimbus. We've got Peek-a-Boo. There's
that Storm guy.
Weather Wizard is here. Mark Martin. Rainbow Raider. Rainbow Raider is here too. And Bloodshot. Which
Anthony
was
Carrigan is his name, but he also plays Zaz on Gotham. And he's very good in that.
Oh, the one who played...
Anthony Carrigan. The one who played Kyle Nimbus.
Yes. I thought that, but overall, I mean, a lot of this episode was like planning. Like 2/3 of the episode is just them trying and them planning to transfer all of these inmates. And it's like, planning isn't that fun to watch on TV.
No. But I think it was more that they're building that dynamic between good and evil working together.
Yeah.
That's what you really need to focus on.
Did you like that first scene?
She's as cold as ice.
Before we get there, did you like that first scene where Golden Glider meets... Pretty much the scene is Golden Glider meets Caitlin. And they have their funny interaction where she's like, oh, you're right. Not Kyle Nimbus. What's Captain Cold's real name? Leonard Snart. Lenny. You're right, Lenny. She is controlling, and she's like, "You can't call me controlling. I'm not controlling. You can't call me controlling." I thought it was a really shitty scene because it's the worst of Caitlin Snow in there because they're trying to make her do bad comedy, which I don't like when she does, and I don't think she does really well. And it really diminished her character because it made her look like a child. She's so, up until now, she's been very confident and very independent. And here, she's cares so much about what this villain thinks about her and whether or not she's controlling or, neurotic or whatever she calls her. I thought it was a really bad scene.
Please tell me this is a joke.
Oh, you are right, Lenny. She is very uptight.
I am not uptight. You can't call me uptight.
Look, guys, we need their help if we're gonna pull this off.
Why are you wearing your mask? Snart already knows who you are.
And I promised I wouldn't tell anyone. That includes my sister.
Jerk.
Train wreck.
I think it's more playing off of like general female stereotypes where it's like, it's the sex bomb meets the like scientist.
First of all, as I said about the last episode, we all know who the sex bomb is on The Flash.
Yeah. Fucking
Caitlin.
Grant Gustin.
Sexy ass Flash.
Grant Gustin.
But I, honestly, that is true, and I think that only worsens the issue where you have this strong independent character and you're
I understand, but it's that whole, they try and play off of that, and of course she's going to be intimidated because, her role as Mother Hen is being threatened by some new sexy piece of Sex.
Maybe she's got
Coming in.
Gold-coated sex.
Although maybe she's got a thing for Cisco now, and
She doesn't.
Oh, Caitlin?
Yeah.
She shouldn't, because
She
that hasn't
doesn't.
been explored. And this whole episode, she's like,
Ronnie.
yeah. Oh, wait. Fuck, Robbie Amell's coming back. We have to make sure that everyone remembers that Caitlin and Robbie were
Yeah.
together. The
Ronnie,
opening of this
Ronnie,
episode,
Ronnie.
she's just staring at a photo of Robbie Amell.
Oh, I didn't see that.
She did.
I didn't notice it.
It's hilarious, and it's like, no one stares at a photo of Robbie Amell.
Not
Not
true.
Robbie's
I
mom.
bet you lots of people stare at photos
Mrs.
of
Amell
Robbie
isn't
Amell.
staring at a photo of Robbie Amell.
I'm pretty sure lots of people do, Al. I'm sorry. Gotta naysay you on that one.
Ridiculous. You want to talk about Wentworth Miller now?
Oh, can we not?
Let's do.
Because he's awful. He's always awful. He's always the same. And fucking Snart. Anything with fucking Snart is bad. Like, nothing good has come out of Snart.
His lines are okay, but he delivers them so poorly.
Well, he delivers them consistently in an annoying fashion, and then I think he accomplishes what they want him to do. Is this annoying guy? You know, he's cocky, he's arrogant, and it's.
But he's supposed to. Yeah, he's
and
cocky and arrogant,
and in your typical cheesy nemesis, arch rival kind of thing.
But I mean, it shouldn't be cheesy. You know what I'm saying? People can assess it as cheesy, but when he's playing the role in a cheesy way, there's an issue there.
Well, I think
everything he says is so bombastic and so over the top and so clearly tongue in cheek that I can't take Wentworth Miller serious as an actor, and more importantly, Captain Cold serious as a character, because I know in my head this is just some guy who's playing this role probably half-heartedly and going, "Oh God, I gotta be a supervillain now. Check my supervillainy out."
Well, the thing is, it's nothing that would ever happen in real life, which I understand it's a superhero show, but it's not believable that this could be a real person, and that's the problem. Even if he's a supervillain.
You've never been Captain Cold, and well, it doesn't make any sense.
No, I've never been Captain Cold.
But you've never been Captain Cold in a bar, and somebody offers you another drink, and you're like, "Yeah, give me another one, ice cold."
I actually like that better than
Cold as Ice playing in the
Oh,
background.
I love that because it's an awesome song.
Well, you know what? It was,
Foreigner did a good job on
the
that.
problem is that it was so forced that it would have been better if they had just played it.
Leave it. I like it.
Nice and low on the jukebox.
They did it first. It was like barely, you could just hear it in the background,
like
but then
that.
it was like, no, we're turning it up. We paid for this shit.
That's right, foreigner. We gotta pay foreigner money. We're gonna get the
Yeah,
most
I know,
out of it.
but I just it didn't. It kind of broke the mold of the season as a whole. I got to check who directed this episode because it seemed like it was a completely different. It felt very different.
I mean, it was abnormal in just the story being told, and different sets, obviously, different scenes to be shot. I mean, that scene where the prisoners break out of the back of the truck that Cisco's uncle conveniently owns.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, and it's probably quite hard to direct. Chris, anything you want to add on here?
Oh, it's just, I can't root for anything with Snart. And
oh my God, did you see him when they're about to leave Star Labs and like they all get on, Golden Glider gets in the truck and everybody goes and Flash takes off and he puts on his little old-timey helmet for his motorcycle, Snart does. It was the funniest looking thing I may have ever seen on The Flash, because the combination of that helmet and his goggles, his Captain Cold goggles, and the fucking parka he wears made him look hysterical. It's like, this is a big, arrogant, tough guy that I'm supposed to care about, and it's just this dickhole with his fucking helmet and his goggles. He looks ridiculous.
But I think that that's part of his character, though, because he does play more of that elitist
Arrogant.
with like this old-timey sort of feel that like he is very intellectual, and I feel like people think that they can take him because of that, and he does, exert his dominance.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because aside from the first episode where we actually see him use his intellect, like planning out how long it'll take the cops to get there and everything, he really hasn't used his brains much. It's been mostly this, sarcastic, arrogant character that hits no notes.
I think he does in this episode, and that he double teams. That is not what he does.
You and the fucking sex puns.
No, he doesn't. He
Double
basically
crosses.
there you go. That's what I was thinking. He double crosses the Flash, and he basically goes through this whole plan to build a team and put those villains in his pocket.
I actually thought the fact that it all failed for the Flash was kind of hilarious, because it's like, okay, you're risking so much. Joe has told you not to do this because the guy's obviously a criminal. The guy's a huge jackass that you've seen in the past be terrible and not trustworthy at all. Sounds like a good plan to you?
And also,
gonna go with it?
You gave him the files before anything was done.
Yep.
So he already got what he wanted.
Yep.
That's why this payment system, when dealing with shady ass people, works. Half in advance and half when the mission is completed.
I've already erased all the captains. After it's done, I will erase all the golds, and we will be done.
I mean, that's the reason the system works. You can't just, let him.
Can't just pay up front.
Turn the files to gold, and then
that's right.
He's off.
I'm sorry.
Scot-free.
Why do they even have to steal things? She has a gun that turns things to gold. You're pretty much set.
Maybe it's just gilded and it's not really gold.
It's not. It's just gold-colored goop.
Yeah.
It's alright. They just go hit up.
That's why they should call her the Golden Gooper.
That sounds terrible.
No.
I think season 2, she shows up again. It's like, oh, Cisco, I need a new nickname. You look real good today. And he's just gonna be like Golden Gooper, and then it's like, bye, bitch, and she runs away again. Oh God! Anything else you guys want to go to ratings on this?
Let me think about that. We talked about how poorly Ronnie Stein did in the battle.
Yeah.
We talked about how we did not. Did anybody expect Dr. Wells to get caught in this episode?
No, I mean you would naturally expect it to happen in the season finale.
Right.
I think one thing we should cover is actually Eddie gets discovered. They find where Eddie was. He was at Star Labs. They free him. And Eddie, after being told of his future by Eobard, breaks up with Iris. So we have the dissolution of that relationship. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you think? Were they better as separate characters than as in a relationship?
It made it easier to tolerate them together because they were both annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I find that the two,
I think it's good for the character of Iris.
It's good for her if she stops being as whiny as she's been.
Mm-hmm.
For Eddie, there's no hope in there unless they give him something productive to do.
Right.
Although that's part of my
Let's talk about season finale predictions. What do you think's going on?
Well, let's do ratings first because if we're done.
No, let's go. Let's save ratings.
All right. So what I anticipate is Dr. Wells has been captured.
Mm-hmm.
It's really him. I don't know where they're gonna keep him or what they're gonna do with him, but I'm sure they'll be able to keep him.
It'd be great if they just handcuff him. It's like, that'll do it.
But my estimation of what's gonna happen is that Barry's gonna go back in time,
and
he's going to save his mother. Therefore, alter the course of time in that line and alter the events that have occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin is going to marry
Ronnie,
sorry, because he's actually Robbie.
Yeah.
They're going to marry each other because the particle accelerator never exploded. And they're not going to know Barry. Something's going to happen where the Flash is going to end up killing
There's a lot to
Ronnie.
happen in one episode.
Cisco will have no girlfriend still.
Or something will happen.
Something's never changed.
And Caitlin will end up becoming Killer Frost, without a doubt.
She's supposed to. Danielle Panabaker has said that Killer Frost will be on the show sooner rather than later.
It's going to be second season, and I think this is the jumping point because, of course, Barry, in his impetuousness, in his stupidity, is going to say they're going to be able to find out that they cannot charge Dr. Wells with this crime.
Duh.
So his father will not go free. So the only way to have his father not be in jail and his mother alive is to go back in time and save his mom. And that's going to re-alter the timeline and it's going to cause some issues.
I'm going to say that I think by the end of the season finale, Eobard Thawne will put himself in Eddie. And then probably sexually, of course.
Talk
about double entendre. Yeah. Sexually, of course. No, he's going to transfer his soul or whatever into Eddie's body, and then the Eddie character will probably disappear and reemerge every once in a while to fight the Flash, as the Reverse Flash. I think that Barry will be successful in clearing his father's name, and season 2 and going forward, his father is going to take that Harrison Wells role in the group. Because as we all know, his father is a researcher. He was doing this beforehand.
Right.
It's a natural role for him. They need somebody else there, and I don't think Iris can fill that role all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And maybe an outlier of either likely Joe. I think Joe might die at the end of this this season. I think he might.
Don't say it.
Because
you kill everyone. Stop.
No, I don't.
You do.
The reason is because it will
We had this discussion in the beginning of the episode.
It'll bring Iris and Barry closer together.
No, keep them apart.
It'll lead to advancement on that storyline, and it's a big important death for the season finale.
No. Okay. No to everything you just said.
Okay.
I think there's going to be some kind of like interrogation of Wells. He's going to escape.
Likely, yes.
I think he is going to accomplish whatever he needed to accomplish with the generator.
It'd be great if you just go, and then the Flash will die, and Tom Cavanagh will take over.
I know Brian is thinking that they're going to go back in time, but I almost feel like they would go forward in time.
Okay.
Which probably doesn't make sense in terms of what the story's trying to do.
Mm.
And also, you do know that obviously Eddie's gonna get some of that Eobard power. I don't know.
Okay. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know if you're
I
going
didn't
to
know
get
how
some
to
of
say
that
what
Iris, get some of that
So,
Barry. I don't know.
I don't know. My thinking is that he is gonna successfully escape
Eobard Thawne will.
through time.
Okay.
Oh, so maybe Dr. Wells goes forward in time, Barry goes back in time.
I don't know. I don't.
Here is ultimately one of the things that's been bothering me this entire season. The Flash has the capability to run so fast that he goes into time.
But he doesn't have the control over it.
But he can outrun some bees.
He can't outrun some beats?
Bees.
Oh.
That bothered me still.
Well, it's that he wasn't expecting the bees.
Well, the first time.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to ratings on this episode of The Flash, episode 22, Rogue Air. Brian, what'd you have this at?
4.
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
I went down from a 4 on the last episode. I had this at a 3.
I thought it was ambitious, but I enjoyed it overall as a story, and the fact that you've hit the you've finalized and caught Dr. Wells.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we've been waiting for. Plus, I love to see him get punched in the face after watching him this whole season.
Tom Cavanagh?
Yeah, not literally, but
no, I would like to see Tom Cavanagh punch in the face. It's funny if you read reviews of The Flash, which I do after we review these episodes. People really love this performance by Tom Cavanagh, like a lot.
I think,
and I don't understand it.
It's hit or miss.
Chris, you had this at?
I had this at a 3,
Okay.
Which was the same that I gave the last episode, because I really just haven't been liking the last few episodes. I feel like it's kind of it was at a point where it got really good, and then I feel like it just sort of fell off. Too much Iris, too much Snart. Leave Snart somewhere else. Just
you're gonna get a whole series of Snart,
completely
Chris.
somewhere else. And
DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
And you better hope that we don't pull that out of the hat.
I'm just so tired of freaking crossovers.
Yep.
Like, stop with the crossing over. Like,
I'm gonna make you feel a lot better. Ready? The CW, I think one of the executives of CW, he said that going forward, The Flash and Arrow are going to have a yearly crossover right around Christmas time.
as long as it's once and no more.
For the
like, they aren't
holidays.
constantly making appearances on each other's show. Because it really annoys me.
Yeah.
And it fucks up the time, as we mentioned earlier. If they don't line them up perfectly, it can really fuck up the show.
Mm.
And that's one of the challenges. And now you have 3 levels of possible crossovers, because you know that you have to have the Flash and you have to have Green Arrow show up on what you call it?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
And that stupid crap show that they're giving Snart.
That's Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Getting ready.
Makes me less.
When we do our
excited
upfront reviews in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about this. and much, much more. Looking at the actual ratings on this when it debuted, or when it aired, rather. May 12th, this aired in the 8 o'clock hour on CW. This had a 1.5 rating with a 5 share in 18 to 49 and 3.65 million viewers. Ticked up a bit, also very good. Did well, actually tied Dancing with the Stars again. It's not as successful as it has been in the past, as it was a couple of weeks ago, but a 1.5 rating in 18 to 49 for CW is always good.
Yeah, this show was a slam dunk for the CW.
Mm. You know what's always even better, Brian?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Oh, pizza's good.
I think you've said that before.
It wins everything.
It's pretty
Chinese
good.
food's good too.
It's like the Ravi Amel of fast food, in that it's greasy, it's cheap, and after you
cheesy.
cheesy.
Leonard Snart.
And after you have it, you feel bad for a little while. Chris, after watching,
used to having him.
Oh. I told you I'm the one that's stroking that photo of Robbie Amell all the time.
I've grown tired of it.
Anyway, Chris Conkers is also always great. Chris, that's your blog, if I remember correctly. Why don't you tell us about what's going on there? What's been happening recently?
Recently, I posted my TV favorites from March and April.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very long post.
I can imagine.
And very diverse in terms of the shows that were on there. I also have some book posts coming up next week, which will be this week when
you hear this.
When this is on air. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes no sense.
Let's cut all that out.
Which will be this week. And I have some product reviews also going up.
Awesome.
I'm also just trying to just take some random stuff that I've got coming in and that I'm working with for Instagram, just to keep that, updated regularly.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what we got going on.
Awesome. By the way, listeners, if you've noticed over the episode, there's a lot of dogs barking in the background. We actually do this from a kennel. So, now you understand.
Well, I'm on vacation, so.
That's right. Are you?
Adopt, don't shop.
That's right. Help ugly dogs. Brian.
Oh.
I'm sure we could find ugly dog photos anywhere on the internet, but one place we won't find them is b911b.com.
Unless it was some sort of artistic looking dog or autistic looking dog.
Okay. What's been going on there recently? b911b.com.
I don't know. I put some photos up from... Actually, shot a couple pictures with my Sony Alpha 7. I put one up of a guy taking a picture in the middle of traffic. Literally jumped out in the middle of traffic and took a picture. So I took a picture of him.
Those people with their cameras.
I got a couple that I took from the Freedom Tower while I was down there 2 weeks ago, and then a couple. One I just put up today from walking around the High Line last week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Check that out, b911b.com.
Mostly New York.
Mostly New York. That could have been a wonderful name for the blog. b911b.com, b911b22 on Twitter, b911bphoto on Instagram. Chris is chrisconkers.com, Corral on both Instagram and Twitter. And Chris.
Yes.
If someone wants to share with us photos of their odd-looking dog, because they know we'll enjoy them.
We will, really.
We like dogs.
How can they do that?
They can tweet us on Twitter at antenna_heads. If they want to listen to old episodes, new episodes, future episodes, they can do so on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, iTunes, and on YouTube. We're Antenna Heads everywhere. Search Antenna Heads, you'll find us. And you can rate us in most of those places. Leave us comments. You can give us thumbs up on YouTube.
And
let us know what
website.
you're thinking. Of course. You can visit our website, browcast.com. And we also have all our episodes and back episodes on there too.
Yep.
And there's old episodes of Browcast.
that diamond in the rough. Check it out. If you want to hear about what technology was about a year and a half ago, check it out. Check it out.
You can also follow them on Twitter.
That's right.
At Browcast.
And there is still up to the minute tech news going on there.
Yeah.
I'm not helping with that.
You're not, no. Useless jackass. Also, you can get a lot of TV news from Antenna Heads' Twitter handle, @antenna_heads. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, Al.
You're great. You're the best.
You're okay.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, when you're not fucking up brownies.
When I don't ruin baked goods, I'm a pretty great guy.
And someone who's kind of okay. Me? Maybe?
Being a little
Had to
generous.
put yourself over with kind of okay.
Kind of. No, not even?
It's hit and a miss.
All right.
You're like the Tom Cavanagh of people.
Wow. Fuck you.
And on that shocking note, it's time to end the
Well,
show.
at least it's not Iris or fucking what's his name?
No,
I don't even know
he's
who.
sexy.
I don't even know who plays Eddie.
Eric Kosnit. Or Kosnit. It's Kosnit, I believe.
I think I'd rather be Tom Cavanagh.
See, after watching a season of this show, I got pretty much all the actors.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. You don't, though. You've been watching it just as long as I have.
Yeah, but for a reason I don't like. What's her name?
Iris? Candace Patton.
Candace.
She is the worst.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the worst.
There you go.
So for Cristina and Alex, this is Brian saying thank you for listening to episode 91 of Antenna Heads.